Welcome to Animal Football Insider, your weekly look into the happenings of your Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Florida Gators, and all things related to football. And now, from West Des Moines, Iowa, here's your host, The Animal.
Okay, you get the idea. The crowd's so excited and everything. And I'm really excited too because it's another edition of the Animal Football Insider coming at you from the great confines of West Des Moines, Iowa on a beautiful night. And the night will also be nice in Columbia, Missouri, as I am going to be there this weekend as the Gators take on the Missouri Tigers. Now, I know, here's the thing. I know what you expect, but it's still my Florida Gators. And you know what I always say, in all kinds of weather, we are all going to stick together through thick and thin. And that's how Gator fans need to be. And, tonight on the show, we got a good show. I think we have a good show lining up for you. Rock Riley, the Rock stopped here. We're going to talk to him about the Bucs and what happened and things around the National Football League as there was news today that happened. Take a little bit of break. We talked about all that. What happened with the Bucs last Sunday? It was a win. Wasn't a great performance, but still a win. A win is a win. And when you have a team that wins like that, you got to be pretty darn happy. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So I'm happy by what happened. I'm happy with the outcome. I'm happy with the way the Bucs responded. There's still issues to be fixed. You can't like there's issues that still need to be fixed. And the same way with the Gators. And Lauren Meadows is going to join me a little bit later on. We'll talk about what's happening with the Gators at this point in time. They get ready to take on the Missouri Tigers. But and we'll talk about that too. And I got a few things to say about that. I got a few things to say because I'm really getting to the point where I'm getting sick and tired of these so-called Gator fans who think they know that they know everything. I mean, I have never heard the whiniest bunch of people in my lifetime. And people, the guys that who I'm talking about on Twitter who think that everything has to happen right away. Everything we have a new coach. We should be winning right away. There's this formula in college sports, people, that you need to understand. It's called patience. Okay, it's called patience. And when he decided to run Dan Mullen out of town, which looking back on it now was a great decision. But when you look at what you know what happened and all, you know, you have to understand that it takes a while. And people now hopefully are coming to the realization of just how much of an upgrade this team needs to be. And I'm firmly 100% behind Billy Mason. 100%. I am proud of the job that he is doing. He has a plan, a formula that he's going to use it, and the guys, it involves some tough times here. Just like with the Bucs. We're going through some tough times here. We don't have an all-star quarterback anymore. We're paying the price for that. Through this, money-wise. You just can't expect winner overnight. Not with the talent that has come through. Not with the how bad Game Mullen left this team. More on that a little bit later on the show. But we begin our conversation tonight with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. These boys behind me right. They traveled to the confines of where they were at home this week against the Tennessee Titans, okay? And then rookie quarterback Will Levis, who former quarterback with the Kentucky Wildcats, who ironically led the team to a win over the Florida Gators 2 years ago. And for the Florida Gators, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, yes, I'm with you tonight. With the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the things that they did, I mean, it was just um, unbelievable. They they uh, they limited Tennessee to just a little over 200 yards on the estimate. 200. Um, 190 and for Will Levis had 199 yards passing on the game, total yards. The rushing was 42. But when you count the sacks, the Buccaneers have 4 sacks for 32 yards. 3 of them in the first half. By the way. Fact, if I can bring this up here, Kevin White had a sack. Shaq Barrett had a sack. Yaba Diaby had a sack, and Vita Bay also had a sack. And you watch, I've never seen a more easier sack than the sack that Vita Bay had. I mean, he just came through and just shocked them. You know, I mean, it was really funny to see there in the first quarter, and to see this team play. I mean, they didn't play great, you know, but, but they played good enough to win the game. And I think that's what somebody like, what's the guy's name? I forget. Oh yeah, Herman Evans. You play to win the game. That's what you do. And that's what the Bucs did. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't great. I mean, yes, we probably have seen more excitement in Rock Riley's feature film festival, but nevertheless, it was still a great game. One of the guys that happened to be there watched the game live in living color at Raymond James Stadium, my friend, the voice of the Rock of the podcast known as Rock.
Righty. How can I hear you, Animal? All right, let's see. Can you hear me, Animal?
I can hear you just great.
Okay,
Just
I
fine.
cannot
Can you
hear
hear
you.
me?
So let's see on this
No, no,
end.
no, no, no. Rock, it might be on my
I
end,
got
buddy. Hang
it
on.
here.
Hang on here.
Hold on a
Hang on.
minute. Oh, okay. Not
Uh,
mute. Okay.
you know, Can you hear me now?
Nope. You know what we can do here? Let's
Can you hear me now?
hopefully. Can I say something, animal?
Can you hear me now?
What I gotta do is. Why can I not hear you? Oh, well. hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Um,
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3,
if
4.
I unhook that, maybe I'll be able to. Let's see.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two,
Technology will
three, four.
drive you crazy, man. It
I know.
always
I know.
does. I don't know
One,
what
two,
was
three, four. I wonder if
different.
my
Let me just go to my
I
settings.
wonder if my
Hold on.
headset. Hang on.
Um, no.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hmm.
Hey
Audio.
Rock. Hey Rock. Hang on just a second here. Hang on.
All right.
One, two,
Let's
three, four.
see. Oh, hold on, animal. Let's go to. All right. Hello there. Can you hear me now? I got you.
I can hear you
Say
clear. Can
something,
you hear
animal.
me? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Yeah, the audio is muffled, but I can make it out. We can do this as long as you can hear me. Okay, I can hear
I
you.
can hear you just fine. Can you
There
hear
you
me?
go. Now we're good. Now we're good. Now
Is
we're
that
good.
better? Okay, thanks a lot. It's kind
Beautiful.
of hard with
Beautiful.
your stream. You're trying to get the microphone settings, so
Gotcha.
we,
Gotcha.
we
Gotcha.
apologize. We apologize about
All good.
that.
All good.
All good. So I had a good rant going here talking about the game. How it wasn't pretty. It wasn't. It wasn't fan. It wasn't the 60-point win that you want to see. But it was just as. But it was just as good as watching Rock Riley in a film festival. You know what I'm saying? I mean. I mean, they won. It's like what Herman Edwards says: "You play to win the game." And that's what the Bucks did.
Well, yes, yes. You know what? I was down on the field afterwards. I come out of the locker room, and a win in the NFL is a win. Is a win. It was like early in the season. Oh, they beat the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are terrible. Well, look what the Vikings have been doing lately. So they needed it badly. There was a few, that's the bottom line. It was good for 1 week. Now you're going to San Francisco. The San Francisco 49ers, they picked up Chase Young. There were a couple of closed door meetings that they had. And Chase Young said when he got there and he saw the love and he saw just how they really, really want to win, because the San Francisco 49ers had been on a 3-game losing streak going into their last week, and then they just totally dominated. So, and Christian McCaffrey didn't get, the record. He's had 17 games, I believe it was 16, 17 games with what he's been able to do. But Brock Purdy spread it around. Defense looked good. This is going to be a big challenge for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Sunday, Levi Stadium.
Doc Riley of the Rock Stop Here podcast joins us on this edition of Animal Football Insider. 34-3 was the score for the San Francisco 49ers as they were able to keep quarterback Jacksonville Jaguar quarterback
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, thank you, in check during the course of the game. You don't see that often, so you know that San Francisco was doing their job. Make no mistake about it.
Right.
And I was thinking about this earlier, and I think that fits this so well. Okay, granted, the NFL has great talent. There's great talent no matter where you are, be it Jacksonville, be it with the New England Patriots, which, by the way, we're going to hit that subject here in just a little bit. You're nodding your head, so you know what I'm talking about. Um, but um, but whatever team you're on, there's still excellent talent.
Right.
Now, having said that, it seems to me that the Buccaneers are doing better with teams that are not as good than with teams that are superpower, like
Right.
like the Eagles and like the Chiefs.
Right.
They don't do as well as they do like against like the Titans
Right.
or the New Orleans Saints. And you know where I'm going. I think you know where I'm going with this.
Basically, this is the team that we thought really that they were. Without Brady, they were 55, $56 million over the cap. That's so much money. So they couldn't bring in any more star players. They're paying Brady so much for this year. So they were stuck. And the expectations got a little out of whack, Animal, when they started 3-1. Veteran
Mm-hmm.
defense. Baker Mayfield was not turning the ball over. You have Godwin, you have Evans, and everybody thought, you know what? The NFC South stinks. This team's going to be really, really good. But then as we get into it, they had the big Monday night matchup, Philadelphia Eagles. They laid an egg. You're right. Against better teams, they haven't been able to hang in there. So honestly, where they are is pretty much what I figured that they would be. And, we'll see. I'm not that confident that they're going to be able to make a long run or be able to go far in the playoffs. I'm really not. It starts up front. And, the offensive line is what it is. You got Cody Mark, who's going to eventually get bigger. He's realizing when he's going up against these power guys he played at North Dakota State. Hainsey at center is he's still so
I
like Jensen
know.
wasn't able to go. The left side, I'm telling you what, Tristan Wirfs has been unbelievable. Not only was he good on the right side, but to switch, he is one of the best tackles in all of the game. But and then Filer was out, and all right, you got Leverett in there, and again, it's mix and match with the offensive line. Now Baker Mayfield. Now I know you're a Gator, and I understand Gator fans just love because Trask is a Gator. You all want to see Trask. I totally understand it. You cannot talk to Gator fans and try to convince them that, like, look, they're going to put the best player out there. A lot of Gator fans feel that he was not given the right opportunity. I understand that. That's how passionate Gator fans are with Trask. But I honestly think that Mayfield has done better on a $4 million contract for a starting quarterback in the NFL. And
He is doing
he's
fantastic.
been better, though, and that's even coming from a Gator. That actually
That I mean
surprises me.
you know when we came into this season, there were a lot of questions, and I think you and I talked during preseason
Yes.
about all this,
Yes.
and a couple of people were saying to me here in Des Moines, were like, "Oh God, Baker Mayfield, good luck
Right.
to you. You're gonna do
Right.
good luck
Right.
to you."
Right.
This this just in. Baker Mayfield is a pretty damn good quarterback, and even though he had that one interception,
Right.
still, I mean, he's just playing some lights out football. I feel bad for Trask.
Right.
I really do feel bad for Trask. He hasn't gotten any in there to have any playing time.
Right.
But why would you want to send him in there when you have a guy like Baker that's playing well, given the team that he has surrounding him?
That's a very good point. And Canales said he was asked, "Well, why did you choose him?" And he said, "I started with experience because every defense during camp and in practice that Bowles throws at him, like he's already seen. Trask has not. So he's like starting with the experience. He's also been able to avoid sacks. He's very good with pocket presence. I will tell you that. And he's very, very strong. Look, is he the answer? I don't necessarily think so. If you look, Fred McGriff, who is he's now a Hall of Fame baseball player, and he
Yes,
would
yes.
always tell me when you're wondering about a player, especially in baseball, look at the back of his baseball card. What you see, it's usually pretty consistent. It's not. I'm not talking about the steroid era where the Brady from the Baltimore Orioles, he went from like what 20 home runs to 55 home runs in one off season. That was different with steroids, but usually what you are is who you are. And Baker Mayfield is 280, maybe 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks or one pick. Decent, maybe top 15, but is he the long term answer? Is he your guy? Probably not at this point. And the other thing is, they got him at $4 million. So if he finishes fairly decent, he's going to want a lot of money. And are they really going to give him a lot of money? Or do you get one of the top quarterbacks and then you're on that rookie contract and then you can build around and not have to pay him until he hits his second contract? And again, where do the Bucs finish? Looking ahead, if you're right around 500, then you might not get one of the studs in the draft. So, with Todd Bowles and, the fan support has not really been there. You go to the games now and man, you can drive in, you don't have the lines, the Glazers see all this cha-ching, where, where's the money? So, I mean, there's a lot into this. And right now at 4-5 and still in the mix in a bad NFC South, they're pretty much where I figured they would be, Animal.
Yeah. Peter Glen's a good friend of mine who's a diehard Buccaneer fan says, "Hey, Animal, the Bucks got to win to save the season for now. I thought there would be a Bucks coaching change, yet a mid-season change does not usually work out well. Happy Thanksgiving, and by the way, happy Thanksgiving to you." I'm not. I don't think the top bull. Let me respond to his question about the coaching change. Okay, forget about top bulls being gone at the end of the year. Several reasons. Number one, the Bucs could not afford to bring in a top-notch coach, even if they wanted to. Number two, Todd Bowles is not. I hardly have any complaints about Todd Bowles because, quite frankly, Todd Bowles is working with what he has to have. Now, what I mean by that is this, folks. This team is not financially stable. Okay, they don't have the funds to bring in $20-30 million quarterbacks. That is the price that you pay when you win a Super Bowl with the hands of Tom Brady. And by winning with the hands of Tom Brady and giving him the contract that you gave him, it transfers down. It's like a trickle-down effect. And that's what it does. It affects your salary cap years in down the road, and the Buccaneers are feeling it. So those are two of among the many reasons why I don't think Todd Bowles, there should be a coaching change at all. I think that Todd Bowles is doing a fine job. Could this team get better? Maybe. Maybe bring in a defensive coordinator for next year, but right now, like you say, we're kind of expecting this with the Bucs we have right now at 4-5, and go ahead and add to anything I'm saying about this.
Yeah. Now the thing about it is the Glazers have money. It's not like the organization, any of these NFL teams, honestly, are hurting. A coach does not count towards the salary cap. So if they want to go out there at the end, if they want to go out there at the end of this year and get a hot shot or get somebody that's been established, they can do that. He has to not be under contract because if you go all the way back when they went and got Gruden from the Raiders, they gave up 2 number ones and 2 number twos. This organization isn't in that position to be able to do that. They got to build from the draft. But they're not, they know, they see what's going on. The Glazers are very, very smart. And in business, it's not good. It's not good right now. It's irrelevancy. It's little things. It's sponsorship. If you look at YouTube views when Todd Bowles has his press conference, oh my God, it is so low compared to other coaches around the NFL. The fans, just the vitriol, this and that. Bottom line is, I like Bowles. We like him in the media, behind the scenes. He's a straight shooter. Players do like him, so he hasn't lost the locker room, and he didn't during the 3-game losing streak. However, sometimes you're a good coordinator and just not a good head coach. And I still don't honestly know. It did not work out with the Jets. He did not have a winning record. And when he came here, he told all of us, he's like, there are things that I learned, and I'm not going to do here as head coach of the Bucs now that I did in New York. Number 2, I'm already in the building. I know a lot of these players. It's not like I'm just coming in and have to learn everything. So he's had that. He also has let Canales, who never had any experience as an offensive coordinator anywhere. He's been a quarterback's coach and was in Seattle for a long time. But I even asked him, he was on my podcast at the owners' meetings, Todd Bowles, just he and I. And I'm like, Todd, I've never heard, whether it's major college or NFL, that a head coach, when he's going to hire a coordinator, hires somebody that he's never met before, that he never knew. You know how it is. You got to know somebody. It's a network, man. Coaches all know one another. And he interviewed like 10 guys. Canales had all this energy, had all these ideas. And he's like, so what? I don't know him. You know what? I'm going to go with him. And Canales has told us he doesn't meddle. He runs the defense. He tells Canales what his ideas are, but he lets Canales run the show. So if there is a new head coach, that means it's going to be a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. Canales will probably be gone. Are they going to go in the draft for a quarterback? I think Jason Light's job is safe, but there is still, though, Animal, a lot. Honestly, there's a lot up in the air with this team. And we still have a little less than half the season. I can't believe we're past the halfway.
I know.
In college, we're almost getting ready for towards the end of the season in the championships. But however, Bowles, a lot of fans say, oh, he has no passion, this and that. I've seen that he does have the passion behind the scenes, but you're judged on, he's got a losing record, and he was losing it with the Jets. So you're based on your results. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think I hear what you're saying, but I think that by the same token, given the situation that he is in, the salary cap health they're in, the way that they've been strained financially and not being able to bring in the players that he wants to play.
Right.
I'm willing to give Todd Bowles a break and say, okay, you do the best you can. I'm not expecting a Super Bowl win this year. In fact, if this team is able to make it to the postseason and get a playoffs, I say great, fantastic. We've had all year. Anything better than that, it's like icing on the cake. One of the things though that drives me up that really drives me crazy, though I'm already a crazy guy. One of the things that really just drives me up the freaking wall is the lack of a running back in the backfield. I know we hear all the talk about Rashad White. Yes, he had 51 yards. He had 51 yards rushing in the game. But I tell you what they've done with Rashad White by taking him out of the backfield and using him on those slots, man, that has been a major plus to this offense. He honestly
is probably their number 3 receiver.
Yeah.
Not Trey Palmer, not Devin Tompkins yet, Rashad White. And Canales knows that. And Rashad White was telling us in the locker room the other day that he loves it. He's very good. He's better in space. He's not good when it's hard to get a hole, or he does that little bit of a juke. They told him to stop doing that. Like, hit the hole faster. Don't kind of wait. He's Le'Veon Bell. He's smooth. He's still, sometimes you can't. There's no time. If there's something there, try to make it. But he is very good in space. So you'll continue to see that. The other thing is, and Canales admitted, defensive coordinators now, they have film. They have tape. See, you go to those first couple of games, nobody knows what Canales and the new offense and Baker Mayfield, nobody's seen anything. So you catch everybody off guard. Now, he was even saying, halftime. Now, we didn't hear from him yet. We'll hear from him Thursday after this game. But last week when he said, yes, we scored the 39 points. Yes, that was great. But, we know that we should have scored 45. There was more things out there. I came in at halftime and said, okay, let's continue to do this. We went out in the second half. We tried it. And boom, first couple of series, they had it down. And he goes, I am learning the defensive coordinators in this NFL are smart with their staffs. He's never done this before. So he is learning that, teams are going to check out tendencies And it's been like that for a long time in the NFL. Some of these young quarterbacks I was listening, same thing. Before CJ Stroud, who is going to be really, really good.
Oh
Man,
my
he
gosh.
he,
Oh
he
my
is for
gosh.
real. But you know what? He was saying going into that game, I was watching his press conference. He was like, I got to learn because the opposing defenses now they know what I can do. Like you
Right.
have to do so much film work. Besides all, like you said, Animal, all these guys at the NFL level are incredible athletes. They wouldn't be there. You're at the best of the best. You are a very good athlete, but to take you to the next level, to be consistent, stay in the game, you got to study. You got to put in extra time. That's how Ronnie Barber was a Hall of Famer. All the
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
studying that he did. Yeah, he's a good athlete, but and the system was great. And it was great defense and all that. So, it's still it's a work in progress. I would love to see them shock the 49ers. I'm not betting on that.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not either. I know that Trey Palmer's had a great year and all, but I'm really impressed with him. But yeah, playing against the 49ers, that's going to be an interesting thing to see here. Sunday afternoon, 4 or 5 Eastern, 3 or 5 Central Time. Watch the game on Fox, right? Fox has the game. Yeah,
I
Fox will have the game.
believe this
Yes,
is a
yes.
Fox game. Now you brought up. Did you start with Belichick? Did you bring that up?
I was
You
gonna
were
get into
starting.
that. Hang on, and let me
Okay,
get into that.
got
Okay,
you.
okay,
Because
okay.
there is a tie to the Bucks. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, okay. So he kind of spoiled the fun, but let me just
Sure.
tell you what's going on this afternoon. On the Pat McAfee, who, as you know, it's on ESPN College Game Day, has
Yep.
a show on ESPN
Yes.
weekdays.
Yes.
Now he had Dan Orlovsky on, who's
Yes.
an NFL analyst,
Yes.
on during the course of the telecast. During that process, and we've heard a lot about Bill Belichick, how the head coach of the New England Patriots, how he's not happy with the way things are going. Um, and we want to caution you right here now that Orlovsky is not reporting anything. He just gave his thoughts on this, that Bill Belichick might be gone at the end of the year. And although not confirming it, he did mention the fact that a team has, quote, already been determined. This just in, ding, 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 ding. All of a sudden, everybody's talking not this again with the Bucs, aka Bill Walsh. You remember all that stuff that went down? Who was the other one?
Parcells
What
for so much. Parcells
Parcells, yes,
left. He left him
Parcells.
at the altar
He
twice.
left him at the altar twice. I'm not buying this about Belichick coming to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Go ahead and say what you want to say on this.
Okay, so Belichick and Jason Light are very, very close friends. They are like this. You know that Jason Light worked in the Patriots organization
That's right, he did.
for
That's right.
Bill
Yes,
Belichick.
that's right.
Belichick was instrumental in helping, believe it or not, Greg
Tom Brady.
Schiano come to
Yeah.
because Belichick's son went to Rutgers. He was really tight and all that. He's done some things behind the scenes for the Buccaneers that fans don't know. I was here when Belichick came when the Patriots played the Buccaneers and had the joint practices, was there for his press conference, this and that. Now, the Orlovsky is hearing things, no doubt. He is in the know. And a lot of people are also speculating when he said it would be the GM and the head coach that it would be with the Raiders. It's a possibility. From what I was told, Belichick wants that record from Don Shula. He's not ready to retire.
Oh,
Robert Kraft is ready to move on
I
now.
see.
He hasn't
Right.
won since Brady, so most likely, if it continues this way, Belichick, they'll part mutually, just like Brady wanted to. They still love Kraft, but you know what? I want to take my chances in Tampa Bay. It's going to be the same thing with Belichick. It'll be mutual.
Okay.
All you've done, so Belichick will be out.
Yeah.
And the
Yep.
fact
Yep.
that he wants that record and is very close with Jason Light, I had heard this in the preseason, even before this season started with Todd Bowles. But the thing about it is, is he going to start? There's so many questions. Okay, he's tight with Jason Light. I can see that. The Glazers say, you know what? Belichick's a big name. to come here to Tampa Bay? Yes. But is he going to want to start with a rookie quarterback in the draft? Does he believe in Baker Mayfield can get him those wins? Is he going to believe in that? Does he believe in Trask? I know you're a Trask guy. Does he believe in Kyle Trask that much? I don't know. Those are a lot of questions. It hasn't worked out with Mac Jones. It hasn't worked out with any of these quarterbacks after Brady. So that was preseason. Jason Light, the Glazers. That's a big name. That would create a pop. There you
I,
go.
no,
That's my take
I,
on that.
I'm just gonna leave it right here.
Yep.
Okay. Let's watch what happens during the second half of this
Right.
season because
Right.
I get a feeling that these guys may just pick things up just a little bit. I would love to talk to you more, but I have another guest that is on right now. Um, uh, I'm going to be back on next Tuesday. I don't know if you're able to join me. If you can, I'd like to go into this more about the Jason Light connection with Belichick and all. If you're able to, give me a shout. We'll bring you back on next week. How's that?
All right, let me see how it goes. Let me see how it
Let's see
goes,
how it
Animal.
goes. No, no,
I
no,
know
no. I don't want.
you got a cavalcade of guests, man. Get on all your other guests.
All right,
You
Rock.
the
Thank
man.
you so much for joining me.
No, my
God bless
pleasure.
and happy Thanksgiving. Rock
You
Riley
too.
joining us on this edition of the Animal Football Insider. Great guy. I love the man. He is fantastic. Fantastic. He just does an outstanding job. Let me get him out. There we go. All right. Let's get into the other conversation, and that is the Florida Gators. They went up to LSU to take on the Fighting Tigers and racked up a good amount of points in the process. But again, it wasn't the offense that was the problem. It was the defense this time that let them down. And unfortunately, uh, the Gators came away with another loss. But they did show a lot of improvement. They never gave up in the process. And a guy that never gives up no matter where he is, any place and any time, Lauren Meadows, joins me on this edition here. And I got to tell you, I I went to the Iowa. I got invited at the very last minute to go to the Iowa Hawkeye game last week, and I saw the game while coming home. I gotta tell you, I was very impressed with the way this offense played.
The offense isn't the problem, and that's what I keep trying to tell people is the fact that we talked earlier in the season about the whole offensive coordinator thing. I don't think there's not a name out there that's going to keep them from scoring 36 points a game and averaging over 400 yards a game. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
No.
But I mean, to use the term impressed, I mean, we are a very, very slow football team on defense. Not very big, not very fast, and that makes for a really bad combination. And it's a shame because, like we said, it's kind of overshadowed how well Graham Mertz has played in spots and really done a nice job. And the job that, ETN starting to really come into his own. Montre Johnson has always been solid. And then you have the emergence of guys like Willie Jackson, Eugene Wilson III, Arliss Boardingham. But that defense is just absolutely atrocious. And for Florida, I know Jaden Daniels has been carving everybody up, but from the standpoint of just a historic beatdown and the way, I mean, just uncontested, tons of run lanes, just, I mean, the ability to go anywhere. I like I said, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've just not been, I've been skeptical from the beginning. And, right now, the only thing you can say is give Billy Napier a couple years to see if he can figure it out. I'm not on the fire Napier train, but I was not as impressed with. I mean, they might as well have been running routes on air on Saturday night. I just thought that it wasn't. I really wonder what they're doing in practice every day, in my opinion.
I was reading some comments, and somebody was saying that over 35% of these players on the 35% of the starting unit on both offense and defense are freshmen and sophomores. These are guys that are not getting a lot of experience, and we understand that. We understand the experience factor, but there's also comes a time where you have to play with a lot of pride. And it just seems to me that this defense just does not have that pride instinct in them to want to play well. I mean, they hung in there as long as they could, but
Well,
Jaden Daniels, oh my God, the man is just
well,
unfreaking believable.
right. Well, let me ask you this, Matt. Animal is do you get? Are you going to go from a 4.6 to a 4.4 because you're a year older? Are you going to gain 25, 30 pounds? I mean, maybe. But, I mean, if you look at the issues where, I mean, yeah, but, I mean, you got Jalen Kimber, who's on his fourth year playing college football. You got Jason Marshall, who's on his third year playing college football. You got Scooby Williams, who's now in his third year. You got Caleb Banks and, what's the other guy? Cam Jackson, who have been in school. I mean, yeah, I get it, but I think that's a cop out, man. And I think the more and more we keep trying to use that in the day of the transfer portal and things like that, and like Billy Napier even said, some of it's alignment, some of it's physical ability. Well, you coach all those things. You coach alignment. You coach eye discipline. You coach all those things, and those things look like they're not being coached. It has nothing to do with Malachi Starks started as a true freshman in the national championship game for Georgia last year and was the defensive MVP. So, kids that want to go out there and do well and are being well coached and the game plan is sound are doing extremely well. And I'm just not buying that. I'm not. It's the University of Florida. And, back there's a number of freshmen over the years that have come in and performed extremely well at different positions. I mean, Joe Hayden started as a freshman for, it was a 9-4 football team. It was a 9-win football team at Florida, and he came into Florida as a quarterback. I mean, and they said, hey, you want to play corner? And he starts as day one corner and never relinquishes. Sure, he had his struggles, but this is a consistent thing now over and over and over again where we're not even in position to make plays and things like that. And I mean, like I said, they for a lot of reasons, they've got the buffer, the 2 year, but, even Billy Napier kind of came out and said you come in with a plan and you adjust it. And I think at this point they need an adjustment because here's the thing. You look at going forward, you and I are going to be there this weekend. You got Tyron Hopper, who was a player at Florida, who is basically Missouri's best defensive player. But then on the back end, you got the nickelback from last year, Trevez Johnson, who also starts for Missouri now as well. So, the talent was there. I don't know what happened, but, I mean, I'm going to remain skeptical until, I mean, I really didn't see anything but the performance of the offense. But LSU isn't that great on defense. But you could say over time that the offense has gotten better. I like the way that they're utilizing Eugene Wilson and things like that.
I do too.
And that offense would, I mean, you think about it this way. That offense would have needed to score 53 points to win that game on Saturday night.
No doubt.
They don't have 53 points. They don't have a 53-point offense. That offense is not built to score 53 points.
No.
So, I mean, I just think that if you look at the way that things went the week before, and you and I didn't get to talk because I was out of town, but you look at the Chinese fire drill at the end of the game, that was totally unacceptable. The fact that once again they had 10 men on the field, the fact that they had to use 2 timeouts because of communication. I mean, it's week 9, and you're using 2 timeouts for communication at home. Come on, man. I don't see it. Sorry.
Is this are these players that just don't care, or are these coaches that are instituting a difficult game plan? I mean, it just seems like that these guys don't understand. It just seems to me like these guys don't understand it.
I talked to someone who's very close to the Florida program he's dialed in. I won't say he's close to the program because nobody can get close to the program. I think that's the way Napier wants it. But At least from a football standpoint. Now he'll let people get close from a social standpoint, but from a X and O schematic standpoint. And my thing was, you got 100 people at the Heavener Center with a Jordan shirt on, and they can't figure out that sometimes they got 13 men on the field, sometimes they got 12, they got 10. They don't understand that the clock stops on a first down. We can clock it and take the whole 40 seconds to kick the winning field goal and get bowl eligible. But with that said, I think that they've got entirely too many people running around who have no idea what's really going on. And I mean that. What you saw 2 weeks ago against Arkansas was a mistake that freshman teams don't make. And I'm talking freshman teams in high school. And then to go on, and I mean, yes, Jaden Daniels has been unbelievable. He has.
That guy, he is so unbelievable. I mean,
but he wasn't unbelievable enough to beat a decent. He couldn't beat a decent Ole Miss team. They should have lost to Missouri. They definitely should have lost to Missouri. And they got pounded by Alabama. So, I get it, but these are the people that we're talking about that Florida needs to be on the level with. And here he run around like he playing against grade school kids. I want to give him credit, but at the same time, you and I both know that it's almost like prisoner of the moment by giving this guy his flowers. He deserves it in the moment, but you really think? Jaden Daniels not Lamar Jackson.
No. There were times where I thought he was there, but But having said that, I have never seen fans as I've seen this week calling for him to be fired. Let's get rid of Napier. Let's get rid of the program. These are people that don't understand that Napier came in here with the cupboard bare. Okay, he didn't have a good class coming in. We knew that what he did last year was pretty good when you really stop and think about it. And it's just, to me, I think that this is a process that Napier knows is happening, that we have to experience the downfalls before we can experience the successes. And I think for Napier, it's like, okay, we're going to play these freshmen and sophomores, but here's the good thing about it. They're going to get plenty of experience down the road. The problem that you face with that, though, are you going to get experience with the same coaches?
Well, I granted that's one thing, but to play devil's advocate, I agree. You could say the cupboard was bare, but you could also point to the fact that, and I'm going to kind of defend Dan Mullen just a little bit, is they lost 4 games that year by less than 10 points. Mm-hmm. So Dan Mullen gets fired for going 6-6, and which. Fine, but that could have been a 10-2 football. Let's just say 9-3. They probably should have been a 9-3 football team. So the cover wasn't that bare. He left him a first round draft pick at quarterback. So and everybody says that's the root of everything. That's what I say. I think that and granted, what I look at is on the field product. At the end of the day, what does it look like? And the numbers that stick out to me are 13, 12, 10, and 2. And what I'm saying is 13 men on the field and you get scored on. 12 men on the field and you get scored on. 10 men on the field, which, the one thing I will say, and even a rule in coaching, when I was in coaching, we never called it. Let's say a team was punting to us, and we had 10 men on the field for some stupid reason. We wouldn't call timeout, because if they're giving you the ball back, just don't rush the punt. Fair catch the ball, you got 10 minutes. Field goal, same thing. Don't call timeout unless it's the winning field goal. But if it's field goal like in the second quarter, you just live with it. Don't call timeout. But then, like I said, when you call 2 timeouts for communication at home, week 9. So like I said, I hear all this and I get it. But are those things going to be eliminated because Napier brings in either A, different assistants, B, better players? Are those things going to be eliminated? Does better players, new coaches eliminate any of those things?
That's a great point. Yeah, I think it's a great point. I mean, we know he's going to be an offensive coordinator next year.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Who said that?
So.
Let me ask you this, Animal. One, let's say that he said that. Now, people have been saying he said that since the Kentucky game. Let's say week 2 or 3.
Well, yeah,
How would he know who would be available? Let's say that he said, I'm going to bring an offensive coordinator next year. And then the only offensive coordinators that are available are guys that aren't as good offensively as the people he has on the staff. So why would he say that? And then we're talking about it. We just said the offense looks great. Why does he need an offensive coordinator?
Well,
Mertz,
and that's what I was going to ask you, because people that I talked to have said that Napier has said he's going to bring in an offensive coordinator, but I've never heard him mention anything about bringing in. You're there every day. I haven't heard anything about him being an offensive coordinator. And with the way things are going right now, I'm not so sure even bringing an offensive coordinator would help. I mean,
if we go down the list of issues, offensive coordinators way down the list.
Way down the
list. And let me ask you this: if I'm Mario Cristobal at Miami, or I'm Gus Malzahn at UCF, or even what's his name, Sarkisian at Texas or Alabama. If I'm Kirby Smart and I go into a kid's living room and I say, "Hey man, you go to Florida." I mean, they've already said they're going to bring in an offensive coordinator. You don't know what the offense is going to be. So whatever Billy Napier is telling you is a lie. Because from what I hear, he's bringing in an offensive coordinator. So why would you make that public in any way, shape, or form? Or even say it behind closed doors so somebody could use that against you?
Yeah, great point.
That guy don't have control of his staff. He's a what do they call it? A lame duck play caller. Yeah. The guy you committed to play for, you might as well flip to us because he's a lame duck play caller. I will give Billy Napier this, and like I said, I think I've been as hard as anybody that's in the quote-unquote media on him, both publicly and privately, but I do not believe for 1 second that he has told anybody that he is hiring an offensive coordinator. And to me, anybody that puts that either on paper or says it publicly that works in the business we work in, I think is being a little reckless, actually. Yeah.
I heard a lot of people say that Bill Napier is becoming an offensive coordinator. I never heard that publicly, and if you say he hasn't heard it, I'm going to believe you and not the other people.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, well,
I try to
I'm just talking as a former coach that's been around a lot of college coaches at every level, and I don't know why in today's 24-hour news cycle you would do such a thing. That's me.
Well, speaking of why you would use such things, I think Texas A&M falls into that category because they fired Jimbo Fisher on Sunday with a $76 million buyout. And when this contract came out 6 years ago of the money that he was going to be getting, I mean, I knew this was going to happen. He was going to fulfill the length of his contract. And the question that enters my mind is this: even though he has the buyout, if he takes another job, does he forfeit all that money?
No. Nope.
Really?
No, you look at and they got to start paying. They got to start paying him like tomorrow too. I mean, he he gets some of it right off the rip. But from what I understand, no, if he takes another job, they still owe him that money.
$7.2 million by the end of this week. Then 30 days, another $7.2 million. Then I think another $7.2 million within 6 months. I mean, that we're talking about using reckless money, and then Zane Arnett, he gets fired at Mississippi State. But there's something interesting happened tonight, and for the viewers here, let's kind of tell everybody what's going on. On3.com is reporting tonight that after their game, UCLA plans to fire Chip Kelly as the head coach of the UCLA Bruins. Now, why we are bringing this up is because in the process, when was it Muschamp that got fired, that we were looking for another coach?
McElwain.
When McElwain got fired, the Gators were looking for another coach. Among the coaches that they were looking at possibly was Scott Frost, Chip Kelly, and there was another one that skips my mind. Okay, but the point being is that all those candidates that they were looking at back then, now they're no longer. If Kelly gets fired on Saturday or Sunday, they're no longer involved in college football at this time. So they probably dodged the bullet by ending up getting Dan Mullen, but look what happened with us. I just find it funny to hear all the talk about Chip Kelly being fired.
I think, I'm going to say this first, I think the history of Scott Frost in college football is totally different if he takes the Florida job. At the time, he would have taken it. I think he was hot. I think they had a lot of good things going for him. I think offensively, it would have been something that Florida fans could really get behind. And I think there was enough there still on defense. Had he brought in, I can't remember who went with him to Nebraska, but, I think it would have been a little different. I think even Chip Kelly might have done differently here. And I thought, and like I said, I've been on record saying that I thought the Dan Mullen hire was a home run hire. So I don't know. Maybe it's the University of Florida. But back to Jimbo, I just think, you almost can't fault a guy, and you can't fault a school that is flush with cash the way that place is. And if you've ever been there, I mean, it is absolutely an unbelievable campus, beautiful campus. They always have different things going on and that kind of thing. So, I mean, just tons of cranes and construction stuff going on. So they got the money. But what I'll say is, the amount of money that's being generated, things like that, that's going to be the thing. I'm not a big Jimbo guy. I'm not but you think about it, really, I mean, is because Texas A&M, for as much money as they have and things like that, are always going to be second fiddle within that state. Is it really one of those things where they maybe have some, let's see, and even maybe Florida fans too have some unfair expectations of their football team? I mean, they really haven't. I think they may have 2 national titles in their whole entire. I mean, they have never played for an SEC title since they've been in the SEC. I don't know. And like I said, I thought it was a mistake when they got rid of Kevin Sumlin. I think that. Yeah,
I did too.
I think
that was.
You being a pretty upstanding dude. I think some other things had to do with that, if you know what I mean. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate we still live in a world like that. But with that said, I think that it is interesting that all those guys are Dan Mullen, Jimbo Fisher, Scott Frost, Chip Kelly now are all. Will be looking for work and are collecting checks for their dismissal.
And it's funny that you talked about Texas A&M and its campus and everything. The wife and I, we took a trip to Dallas to spend a few days there. That's how we found out about Buc-ee's and all that.
Oh yeah, Buc-ee.
And we had the opportunity to visit at the George H.W. Bush Library. So we've been on the Texas A&M campus.
Beautiful, yeah. I've
And
been to that. I've been to that library too. I'm a big history buff as well. So
yeah, yeah.
that was
It is just fantastic. Okay, I know you got to run. Okay, uh, you're arriving in Columbia on Friday.
I'll be there Friday. I get in. I got to look. I think I get in around dinner time into St. Louis. So you and I are going to have to hook up. It'll be a later, but I'll be there.
I tell you what, I'm gonna send you my phone number, and I'll send you my phone number through chat,
Mm-hmm.
and let's get hooked up. I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna arrive at Hooters around 6:30, 7 o'clock or
All
so
right.
in Columbia. Join me here. I'll buy you.
Oh yeah,
Dinner.
absolutely, man. We definitely that's like I
We
said, you're
got
right. And
we,
our buddy, I don't know if you've met Dan Bond. He's another one of our guys from Big Gator Bait. He'll be with
yes.
me. So
Yes,
so
I would
yeah,
love to meet. I would love to
yeah.
meet Dan. I
So
know who
Dan,
he is.
yeah.
I
So
know who he is.
Dan will be in the mix too. So yeah, we're gonna have a good time this weekend, man. It's
Let me.
I'm still a little jet lagged, so
I'm sure
I
you
got to catch
are.
my breath before I
Now,
get back.
was that your anniversary that you went on? Was that
No,
what
no,
you?
no,
That was
no.
that just
Just had some time off from
okay?
work, and the wife and I really, really enjoy Paris. We did have opportunity, just as a side note, to go to the Notre Dame South Carolina basketball game that was held in
Really?
Paris, and
Oh, nice.
first college
Uh,
basketball game ever held in Europe, male or female, and South Carolina's
oh,
got good. Don Staley's got a good group coming, and I got a good buddy of mine, Carlos Knox, who's an assistant at Notre Dame, hooked us up with some really good seats, man, and we had a good time. So it was good.
um, speaking of which, with Dan Bond, who's part of the Gator or the Gator group and all that. How is Buddy Martin doing these days?
Doing good. Busy. He's actually he's on assignment tonight. He's speaking to the Ocala quarterback or Gainesville quarterback club tonight. So he's actually around the
Oh,
corner. So
so that's why you
yeah,
gotta go, or is it
yeah.
because you're gonna be on with Brendan?
No, no, no. I gotta go. I gotta go do the show. You know.
Okay. Hey,
So
hey, listen. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll send you my phone number afterwards, and we'll get hooked up Friday night, no doubt.
all right, boss.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later, Lauren.
Good
Thank
talking
you.
to you, man.
God bless,
All
man.
righty. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you. Lauren Meadows joining us from this edition of the Animal Football Insider. I mean, I love Lauren. He's great. You know, didn't quite agree with everything he said, but that's what makes us great. We can agree to disagree. So I gotta take a sip here. So as I was telling Lauren, I went to the Iowa game last week. I think they were taking on Purdue. I forget. I forget. No, Rutgers. They were taking on Rutgers last week, and I saw firsthand, how it was because where my seats were at, it was like 2 rows from the wall, from the edge of the stadium. That's how close I was. But you could still see a good portion of the game from where you were at. So I'm watching the game, and it's so funny because Brian Ferentz is, he's so stoic. I mean, he doesn't have a rah rah to him. Nothing. Which you can tell why Iowa has the kind of team that they have. You know. And by the way, Brian Ferentz is going to be gone after the end of the year, but excuse me. But what you find is a lot of interesting things that happen on the sidelines at a football game. I mean, the true inner workings of how a game is set up, what goes into it, and to tell you a story, was I'm sitting there watching the game happen, And on the sidelines, it was fairly cold, not real cold, but it was fairly cold. And you have benches that have heaters, and then you have these little pop-up things on the back of the benches where you can put your helmet on and keep your helmet warm. Well, during the course of the game, one of the benches was not heating up, and there was a lot of scrambling that was happening on the sideline trying to get the benches to to warm up, and it took them a while. It finally did, but it was so funny seeing how just behind the scenes things that go on like that is very interesting. But one other thing I noticed is Kirk Ferentz. And Kirk, I generally believe he's a man that cares a lot about his players. Um, you could see him on the sidelines shaking his hands. There was a point in the game in the third quarter, things weren't looking good. And instead of Ferentz watching the game, he's on the sidelines, walking up and down, shaking hands with the players. Says, "We got this. We're not going to get down on this. We got this. Keep your heads up. Keep your heads involved in the game." And he was nothing short of just being inspiring, trying to lift his team up. Now I found that, and I found that to be very interesting. And so, um, I was on top in the Big Ten, I believe East or West. I forget what conference they're in, but I really found that to be interesting. Now, the Jim Book Fisher buyout, $76 million. He's going to get $7.2 million within 30 days, another $7.2 million within another 30 days, then another $7.2 million for the next however many months. And I find that the fact that he can still work and have that kind of money, and it just really amazes me. Where in the heck is the money coming from in college football? And if it's coming, you know, that big, why aren't Florida boosters stepping up? Not so much trying to buy out Napier's contract, okay, but trying to help build a better facility, which they finally have gotten, and it's up to standards, okay. I've got to ask Lauren this, but I've come to find out that there's been an architect that's gonna be in charge of trying to construct another Florida field. Now, this is something that doesn't happen overnight. This is going to be way, 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 way down the road. Okay, um, that they already have like $400 million allocated to put some new improvements into Florida Field, and fans are not happy about that because that means some of the seats in that stadium are going to be removed. I believe from like 88,000 to like 79,000, something like that. But it doesn't mean a lot to you. But to the fans at Florida Field, yes, it means a lot. It really does. And just find that to be very interesting. You know what? We got so busy, forgot to take you around the league and talk about what's going to happen this week, especially with the National Football League. As we're going to do that here in just a second here. Let me do something here real quick. Okay, we take you around the league this week for our games of the week. Carolina be at Chicago for the Thursday night matchup. No, wait a minute. That's the wrong week. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, so here's the deal. Great contest on Thursday. Cincinnati would be at Baltimore. Sunday's game, Pittsburgh at Cleveland, Chicago at Detroit, the Chargers at Packers, Raiders at Miami, Giants at Washington. Boy, could you believe the way the Giants just fell apart the other night? I mean, Dallas just gave them a licking. And speaking of Dallas, they'll be at Carolina. Tennessee will be at Jacksonville. Arizona at Houston. The Bucs would be in San Francisco for a 4:05 start on Fox. Giants be at Buffalo, then Seattle at Los Angeles Rams, and then the 7:30 kickoff time Central will be the Minnesota Vikings at the Denver Broncos. Monday night game be Philadelphia at Kansas City. Then on Thanksgiving week, Green Bay, Detroit, Washington at Dallas, and then San Francisco at Seattle. And those are the games in the National Football League. Stand by just a minute. As far as college football, a few games are being played tonight. Uh, Jim McElwain's Central Michigan team will take on Ohio tomorrow night on ESPNU. Boston College Thursday night will be at Pittsburgh. Friday night, South Florida will be at University of Texas, San Antonio. You know, speaking of which, their head coach Paul Galesh, who I believe is his first or second year, made some interesting comments that had been hitting Twitter. I wish I could find them, but if you have a chance, go back and Google Paul Galesh quotes. And he made some very, very interesting points about players in college football. Um, so check that out. Colorado will be at Washington State. Matchups on Saturday. Michigan will be at Maryland. Speaking of Michigan and the whole Jim Harbaugh situations, you know Jim Harbaugh, by now you know Jim Harbaugh has been suspended for the next 3 games. But Harbaugh has filed for an appeal. Friday, they're going to hold a hearing on this, and Harbaugh is going to be at that hearing. So the results of that is going to be very interesting. Let's see, Chattanooga beat Alabama. Louisville Monroe beat Ole Miss. Excuse me, Louisville beat Miami. That'd be 11 a.m. game. Michigan State beat Indiana. Other games to watch out for. I apologize, I'm getting a cough here. Other games, Illinois will be at Iowa for a 2:30 game on FS1. Baylor at TCU. Minnesota be at Ohio State for a 3 o'clock game. Oregon be at Arizona State for the Fox game of the week. You know what? I just noticed something here. SEC Network New Mexico State at Auburn for a 3 o'clock contest. I don't see the CBS game of the week. Okay, Georgia will be at Tennessee. Okay, there it is. Number 1, Georgia will be at Tennessee for a 2:30 kickoff. Wake Forest be at Notre Dame. Now, Northern Alabama will be at Florida State. And then Gators will be at Arkansas. Will be at Missouri. I'm going to be there at the game. I'm going to be doing interviews and some interesting spots. So I have a lot of reporting to do there while we have some fun there. Texas will be at Iowa State 7 o'clock. By the way, the Florida Missouri game is a 6:30 p.m. kickoff time. That'll be on ESPN with Joe Tessitore doing the play-by-play. I love Joe Tessitore. I think he does just an outstanding job. As one of the best voices in all of college football. Georgia State will be at number 15 LSU. But you know that's how it's going to be for this week in the world of college football and the National Football League. Okay, before we go, thank you all for joining me tonight. One thing about riding, and Lauren Meadows for joining me on this edition of Animal Football Insider. Now, we're going to be back next because of the holidays. We might do a Tuesday show. We'll see what happens with that. So check on Facebook for that. We might do a show for that next Tuesday because remember, Thanksgiving is going to be on Thursday. And then you got some great college football games the following Friday. So we may do something next Tuesday and talk about the Missouri game. And who knows? We don't know what we're going to have next week. Maybe Scott Carter will be able to join me. He was supposed to join me tonight, but had other matters that probably came up. But join us next week for another edition of the Animal Football Insider. Hopefully we can talk about an upset in San Francisco with the Buccaneers, and maybe also talk about the Gators pulling an upset over Missouri. I'm going to tell you something. I despite what has happened in the last few weeks with the Florida Gators, I am not. I haven't given up on them. I'm not going to give up on them. I'm a true believer with Billy Napier. I think Napier has a plan, and he wants to see who wants to be here and who doesn't want to be here. And I think he's trying to figure that out. And I know Gator fans are frustrated. I know you're hurting, but understand. The man has a plan, and this is going to take a while to get over. Okay? It's going to take a while for this team to get back to where they once were. Before we leave, the college football rankings have come out. Georgia's number 1, Ohio State's number 2, Michigan is number 3, and the Florida State Seminoles are at number 4. The Hawkeyes are ranked number 16, Tennessee 18. Missouri's 9, Texas is 7, Alabama's 8. That just seems weird. Alabama number 8 in the country. We're really not used to that, are we, folks? Wow. So let me get the way it is. Okay, we said the top 4: Washington 5, Oregon 6, Texas 7, Alabama 8, Missouri 9, Louisville 10. I believe that's Louisville. Oregon State, I believe that's 11. 12 is Penn State. 13 is Ole Miss. 14 is Oklahoma. 15 is, I believe that's LSU. 16 Iowa. 17 Arizona. 18 Tennessee. 19 Notre Dame. Number 20 is North Carolina. Number 1 is Washington State, I believe. Number 2 is Indiana, I believe. I don't know. They got the helmets logos on the screen, so I'm kind of guessing here. Number 3 is Oklahoma State. Number 24 is Tulane, and 25 are the Kansas Jayhawks. So that is going to do it for tonight's edition of the Animal Football Insider. Again, my thanks to Lauren Meadows, my thanks to Rock Riley. Thank you all for joining me on tonight's edition and posting your thoughts and comments. Love having you all tonight, and this has been great. We'll be back. If we are going to be back on next week, we'll be back on next Tuesday for another edition of Insider. Until then, you all take care. God bless. I'm going to be in Missouri, and I'll bring you reports throughout the process on Facebook Live, so be sure to join me. Until Missouri or another time, we'll catch you later, and always remember that if you're not a Gator, you're primed to be Gator bait. Good night, everybody, and God bless.
Thank you for watching Animal Football Insider. Be sure to join us every Thursday night here on Facebook Live. Thank you for watching Animal